What's up, Dragon Ballers? Chris back from CTJ to Staying Elites, bringing you guys another deck profile video. I just realized that I have not made a variation of my Buu-geks deck as a video, and I feel really bad because it's one of the decks that I play quite a bit. This leader, obviously outside of the Universe 3 stuff, got hit really bad, and people have been finding different ways to play it. I have gone more of the Buu route. This is sort of my Buu-geks deck. It's slightly different ratio-wise from other decks that I've seen. So let me know what you guys think about this. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Let me know what you guys think of this deck as well. I have tons of other decks for set 10 stuff that we have coming out. Just trying to work on every single one of them is kind of the big problem right now. And we, as a team, we really only get together one day a week, which is generally Sundays, so we haven't really had the opportunity to do too much since the game dropped. We had a tournament and then wasn't really able to record any videos. So this leader here, you can only play mono black cards, so if you can actually run like the apes or anything in the deck, you can just put them in the drop area. You just can't hard cast them. The active main is you burst 5, then you draw 1, and if your life is at 4 or less, or if you have 20 cards in your drop area, you can restand 1, draw 1, and awaken. And then on this side, Buu-geks does the same sort of thing. Instead, his activate main is a draw 1, and then you burst 5. And then you get to choose one of your black unisons and gets a double strike for the duration of the turn. This comes in handy later on in the game. Generally, I'm going to, I'll kind of talk about it once we get to that point, but there's a point in the game where I will hold my awaken for my last basically few swings, and it'll make sense here once I show you guys. But then the sparking 20 effect is if you have 20 or more cards in your drop area and you run out of cards in your deck, you just shuffle your drop area back into your deck, which is a super strong effect. So Buu-geks here, we run the package of cards that came out of the structure deck. The Supreme Kai, which is basically a pseudo combo if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, which in this deck we are going to almost all the time. But if you mill this card as well, you get to play it out in the battle area for free. For the Trunks, same thing. Trunks can be played out from your hand. I mean, from your drop if you mill it. It has unique, so you can only play one from the battle area. It has blocker, and when you play this card, you can take a life. So it just helps you get a little bit of self-awakening if you're playing against a deck like Invoker or somebody who's not swinging at you a lot. For the Time Agent Vegeta, same idea, unique, play this card out. This has an activate battle for 2 energy where you can warp anything 3 or less, which comes in handy against certain decks. You can basically, they swing in with something, you just activate battle, warp it. They can combo or do whatever they want, but you can just pop it for free, almost. For free, I mean not wasting any sort of resources, you're just using 2 energy. And then 4 of the Gotenks unison. The best one for this deck, just because you mill it, you place a marker on it, play it out, activate main for 2, drop a card, gain 10k for the turn, and then activate main for -4, gain 20k in dual attack. Now for this, when you're using this with your leader ability, you have to use this ability first. The reason is because if a unison pluses or minuses its attack power, it removes any abilities that it had placed on it before. So if you use your leader ability and you give him double strike, and then you use this ability, you actually will remove the double strike from him. So make sure you use this ability first. So if you want to use the -4, you give him 20k in dual attack, so he becomes a 25k base dual attack. Then you can use Buu-geks' ability to give him double strike for the turn. So that's how that works. 4-star balls, and we run 4 of the Kid-Kus. So 8 card package there for the Kid-Ku. It's a really good card. You should play it in this deck if you're playing the variation of it that I am. I think actually, I think even with just the normal Buu-geks engine, I think you should play this. It's just a great black card to play. Gives you combo power and your black leader, so you can play out skillless, which just allow you to just pressure almost for free. You play 2 Nariyama. It's really fun to tap 2, play out this 30k, swing in, and then your opponent has to combo out of a 30k, and you can also obviously give a double strike because of cards that you can put in the deck, and it becomes a nuisance to deal with, so to speak. And if they remove it, it's fine. You just tap 2 again and play it out again next turn. 2 Quotsukais, they're good for whenever you're going in for game, your big game turn. This card hits every unison counterplay that's in the game. All those new free counterplays, yeah, this hits it because they're all under 20k. So if they play a card on your turn, they have to warp 2 cards from their hand. And since our win condition doesn't take that much energy, we can play one of these out, or even play 2 of them out, and then they have to warp 4 cards from their hand. You also can shuffle cards back into your deck and add cards to your hand with this ability. So you can take up to 2, put it at the bottom of the deck, draw 2, take 1, take 0. It's completely up to you. For BB super combos, I know people were complaining about this card. I don't think this card needs to be banned. Black doesn't have a lot of cards that it can really use as an advantage over other colors, which is a terrible thing because black is probably one of the most fun colors to play. But this is what black has, basically. It's the BB super combo. So it gains 1k for every card in your drop area and your warp. We're not running any overwhelm, so we don't need to worry about the warp. But when you get, 40, 45 plus cards in your drop area, you drop one of these, it's extremely difficult to combo out of. Especially if you have more than one. One generally enough, you can just slam this down, and most people are just going to say, okay, I can't combo out of that. 2 Pui-Puis. This card here has barrier. If your leader is black and you have 2 or less cards in your hand, your opponent cannot activate counterplays. Sorry, my dog is deciding to bark. Kobe! Stop! Thank you. So we run 2 Pui-Puis. Pui-Pui is a very fun card to play out. So for 2, this card has barrier. And if you have 2 or less cards in your hand, your opponent cannot activate counterplay skills. So they can negate, but they can't counterplay. Which is kind of, obviously, it's just a different variation of the Quotsukai. This one just allows it so your opponent can't play counterplays. The Quotsukai says if they play counterplays, they have to warp. Battle card counterplays, they have to warp 2 cards. So we run 2 of them. I'll probably try to play at least one of them out. Now we get to the win conditions of the deck. So we have 2 Malicious Mimicries. I would like to run 3, but I sadly only own 2. So for 1, you get to choose 1 Majin Buu, give it 15k. That's cool. But the active main from the drop is the big one. So if all of your energy is black, you warp this card, choose 1 card in your hand, place it in the drop area, then you choose 1 black Majin Buu card with energy cost of 2 or less in the drop and play it, which allows us to start our Buu chain. Before we get into the Buu chain, the 1 card that I added from set 10, this is the only card I added from set 10, is the Wickedness Incarnate. So this card here has it has some pretty decent value for this deck. So if we activate 1, you warp this card from your drop. You can't activate this card ability for the rest of the turn, and then at the end of your turn, you may choose 1 card in your hand, discard it. If you do, draw 2. So the idea is that if we have a dead card in our hand, and we go through our Buu chain, and we don't have something that's going to reliably help us play defensively next turn, or if we're just not drawing cards, we need to cycle to get some cards, I'll just tap this at the end of my turn, drop 1, draw 2, just to help kind of cycle through some stuff, especially if I have extra cards in my hand, because since our leader doesn't drop cards, only our unison drops cards, we have more than 1 extra card in our hand that we don't specifically want for the next turn. We can just drop them and then draw 2 more with this card here. It's also 5k combo power, so it has some usage in the hand, and then allows us to cycle through some of the bad cards that we're getting. All right, and now for the Buu chain. So we run 4 of the 2 drops. If you have no battle cards, if you have no cards in your hand, You choose one of the following effects. You either play a 3 or 4 Majin Buu from the drop, or you play a Majin Buu between 3 and 6 if you have 3 more energy. We're never going to play this card on turn 2. This is going to be our turn 4 play generally. We're going to play this out, and then we're just going to go up the chain. So we run 4 of those. We run 2 of the double strikes, 2 of the crits, 2 of the Supreme Evil finishers, and 2 of the Majin Buu promos. So we'll kind of go back here a little bit. So from this card, you can get a swing with this, activate battle, pitch this to the drop, play this out in active mode. Now this is a double striker, so we swing, 25k double strike, activate main if you have no cards in hand. You put this in the drop, and then you choose a Majin Buu between 3 and 6 to play out. So then we'll go into the 25k crit, same thing. And then after that, we'll go into, wrong one. We'll go into the 6 drop. This 6 drop says, this card cannot be removed from the battle area by skills. And also, if this card is in rest mode, your opponent cannot draw from cannot add cards from their deck to their hand with non-leader card skills. So they can't use draw apes, they can't use any sort of ability that allows them to draw outside of their leader ability. And active bait battle, you can tap 3 energy, give this 10k and triple strike. So it's a good game finisher. But generally, I'm just going to put it on the board as I go up the chain. The promo Majin Buu is really good too. Same sort of effect with the permanent. But this one, if your opponent plays a battle card greater than their energy, you can put this in the drop and warp that card. So if they play any sort of secret rare, you can hit almost every single secret rare in the game because it's an auto. You just play, okay, warp, and then whatever effect they get off, but at least you warp that card. There is a chance to go up the chain twice in one turn to get both of these out on the field. You probably have to use the Malicious Mimicry in the drop. But this is why we hold our Leader Awakening effect, because I will sit on this side until I go completely up the chain, because I don't want to add a card to my hand. Once I pitch my hand, I just want to go. Once I awaken, you draw a card, and then you can use your ability to draw another card. So if you need to draw cards, maybe like you have a 2-drop in your hand, but you need something else, or you have an extra card, and then that's when you can use your Unison ability to drop a card. You can use the Malicious Mimicry to drop a card and play out a 2-drop, and then go up the chain again. Now, the one problem is that with going up the chain twice, you can only play out these 2 cards once in one turn. So you can't double up and play a second chain of these. So generally what you'll do is you'll just go directly into one of the 6 drops just to get it on board. And it gives you an extra swing, and just gives you some utility on the board of having both of these there, and it becomes much more difficult to deal with if they don't kill you that turn. 2 further destruction champas. We use these for typically the skillless swings, because they're already at 30k. We'll combo a Bibbidi, combo one of these on it. That's a 60 plus k double strike. They're generally not going to combo out of that. So we got 2 of those. 1 demonic absorption. It's the only removal extra card that we run in the game. Just warps anything during barrier. I run 4 petrification. I don't run power burst in this deck. I think power burst in this deck is actually really bad. There's no reason to run power burst in this deck. I personally don't see the reason. This card is much better. Because, like I said, if there's a dead card in our hand, let's say we have another petrification, or we have something else in our hand, and we need to remove it so we can make room for playing Buu, this card allows you to drop a card from your hand. But also, when you do that, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. It can attack, be placed in your opponent's combo area, and it can't activate skills until the end of your next turn. So, if you're playing against Invoker, and they throw down the Vegeta, they swing, you can negate, choose the Vegeta. The Vegeta loses barrier, loses deflect, and loses Invoker. So then you can use your 4-drop Vegeta to just tap 2 and warp it next turn. And I don't know why people don't play Petrification. It seems like if you're playing black, you should just play a full play set of this card. Power Burst is great, but with this deck, you cycle through your deck so much. I generally go through my deck at least 1.5 times when it comes to milling stuff. So it just doesn't make sense for me to run Power Burst. I'm just gonna run this. It's just a way better negate. And then we run Smoke as our secret rare. The Gogeta, which I have here somewhere. Thought I did. Well, while I'm talking here, I'll try to find it. So the Gogeta secret rare is... Hey, here we go. So the Gogeta secret rare, I've had people asking me, like, hey, would you rather play that than this? And the answer is, I mean, I guess. It's a really good card. For this deck in particularly, it just gives you a weird ability to have a super strong finisher. But put these guys side by side here. The problem is that when you play Gogeta, you can't play battle cards in your battle area. So you can't burst and play out more cards. You can only play out your unison. So it just kind of defeats the purpose of the deck, being able to just stack the board. And Smoke Dragon just allows you to... It's constantly going to be 5 energy, but it just allows you to manipulate their boarding, remove cards, and allows you to kind of go for game a little bit better. So that's why we don't run Gogeta. I figured I'd put that in the video because I know somebody will probably ask, and I figured I would at least answer the question beforehand. But this is my Buu-geks deck. This will probably change theoretically. I will be making a variation of the deck that has more actual Buu-geks stuff in it, especially for store championships, since none of the Buu stuff will be legal. But let me know what you guys think of this variation of the deck. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.